Good day, Roelf. You're moving forward on becoming a next level interviewer. And to do that, you're going to work your way through each of the sessions which focus on the core skills that expert interviewers use. However, before we go there, it's important to spend just a little bit of time understanding how you need to behave to acquire soft skills. That's what this how-to guide is all about. So this session has two objectives. Understand what it takes to move from viewing a course like this to taking the steps to acquire the soft skill that you can use back on the job, which is where the payoff is. And to support that, helping you understand why you must do the practice drills provided at the end of each of the next level interview core skill sessions if you want to move from knowing about these skills to knowing how to actually do them. So this particular session has two sections. First, helping you understand what's a skill and what underlies the components of acquiring a new skill. And second, showing you how the practice drills will be structured at the end of each of the next level core skill sessions. People think a skill is a capability, but in fact it's much more than that. It's a unique combination of a personal value and a capability. The value is what motivates you to acquire the skill in the first place and to execute the skill when you're back on the job. The capability is a behavior you've practiced so that you can do it whenever you need to. And the capability must become a smart habit, a fully integrated mind-body behavior that you can execute in the moment without a lot of conscious thought. And we'll talk about what you need to do in order to develop such smart habits in a little bit. Without the value to motivate you, you will not work at acquiring the capability. Even if you have the capability, without the value to motivate you, you won't execute the capability. You won't exercise the skill that you have when it's useful in a particular workplace situation. And so one way to see if you have the values are to research what it takes to acquire the capability, and then to put energy into acquiring the capability, because that's why you will do it. You think it's important, you want to accomplish it, you want to have the skill, and that value, that desire, motivates the work that you have to do in order to, in fact, develop the skill. So how do you develop smart habits? How do you create integrated mind-body behaviors? We all understand the cycle. It's practice with feedback. You start by understanding what it is you need to do, what behavior you need to engage in. You rehearse it in your mind, because we now know, particularly from the sports movement around the Olympics, that the more you can see yourself doing something in your mind, the more you can hear yourself saying something, the more likely you are to, in fact, do it, to behave in that way. You want to videotape your practice behavior, because by reviewing the videotape, you can coach yourself on getting better or be coached by other people who review the videotape with you. And that's the practice with feedback soft skill acquisition cycle. So you start with understanding. Know that. How am I supposed to behave? What is the behavior? Why it is effective? Know why. And this course is all about know that and know why. But it's also about practicing, developing know-how. The question is, how do I get the feedback I need in order to do that? In today's world, we're lucky. We all have access to a video recorder or the video record function on our webcam or our smartphone or on your tablet. That is your absolute best friend in terms of getting the feedback you need on the practice that you need to develop the smart habit, which is the skill. And so you find a situation that you can observe, and you rehearse, you run a videotape in your mind of how would I behave in that situation to be effective using this core skill. And then you find an opportunity to do it. But you record that doing. And you look at that video recording, and that is what allows you to think about how would I do this better in the next opportunity I have to do this. Of course, if you add a learning buddy, someone who's working through the course with you as well, the two of you can give each other feedback, and that deeply enriches the value that you'll get out of an e-learning program like this. So in this e-learning program, at the end of each next level interview core skills session, we're going to talk about drills and practices, things you can do to move through the soft skill learning acquisition cycle, the practice and feedback cycle. You're going to see the following slides at the end of each of these core level skill sessions. The first one's going to talk about rehearsing, finding an opportunity to listen to a conversation people are having at work or in a social situation, or even on the TV or in a movie that you happen to be watching. And it's really helpful to be doing this around movies and TV shows because you can pause, you can stop the behavior, you can go back and play it again and go through the practice feedback cycle so easily. After someone says something, run a video or audio tape in your mind. Rehearse of what you would do when you were using that particular core level skill. And of course, you also have the opportunity to do this rehearsal at work. You may be in a meeting, which is not particularly engaging. You may have an opportunity to watch two other people interact. Identify an opportunity where you can implement one of the core level skills. Rehearse how you would go about doing this. Run an imaginary video or audio tape in your mind. And then find an opportunity to actually do it. It's really critical in the process of developing smart habits that you say it out loud, that you add the facial and hand expressions you would normally use, and that you move your body in the way that you would normally move. That's how you develop smart habits, by doing, getting feedback. You have to do. You can't just think about doing. Rehearse, and then you do. After the conversation, if you get a chance to practice it, take a little bit of time to stop. In your mind, look at what happened next after you did the intervention, after you practiced the behavior. Was it effective or ineffective? And again, during the course of the course, we'll talk about that in more depth. And you can do the same thing away from work and social situations. Find an opportunity, rehearse what you would say, do it, and afterwards think about what happened and look at what happened next. How did the other person respond? But stop for a second. Ask yourself, if this is so critical, if practicing in this way is so crucial, why do people not do it? Do I really have to do it? And we found now from research and from practical experience engaging with people that the single biggest limiting belief that keeps people from acquiring new soft skills is the belief that I don't really have to practice the new skill and get feedback on how I am doing. I can just read about it and it'll happen. I can just think about it. No, without actually doing, you won't translate what you know that, into know-how to, a smart habit that happens in the moment without a lot of conscious thought. So do the practice drill session for each core skill. Great. Let's move on to some.